Hey guys, and welcome to the show. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can create sounds based on terrain. Alright, so here we are within the demo project. Now I'm using some of the code from my platformer series to help us along because I thought that was the best place to show you guys what this is all about. So on the left of our screen we have sort of like a grassy field, and beyond the pit of doom we have some wooden boards just waiting for us to stand on them. Now the way I've accomplished this is because we are walking on invisible blocks and the images we see are just tiles. I've created different types of blocks. So when we're on grass tiles we've got sort of like a grass kind of block, and when we're on wooden board kind of tiles we've got a wooden block. And when we do our collision checking to see whether we should fall through a block or not, I can then determine what kind of block we're colliding with and then give a specific sound. So if I'm on a grass block, I give a grass sound at a certain time when my image index of my sprite is just right, and when I'm on a wooden block it does the same thing but it gives off a wooden sound. So let's see, if I jump and land on grass, it makes a grass sound. If I walk, it's like I'm walking on grass. If I run, it's like I'm running. See, it speeds up. And we're walking on wood. There you go, makes a wooden sound. Now I found these resources on YouTube. I admit they're not the best, but hey, they're good enough. You can probably find cool resources too, or if you're up for the challenge you can even record your own if you've got all kinds of fancy equipment. So let's jump straight in the code. I can show you how you can do something very similar. Okay, so here we are within my Barebones platform project. In my sprites I've already added to our tile set. So there we go over here. That is, if I zoom in over here, our tile set with a bit of wooden board on there. When the player interacts with something that represents the tile set, it will then create a wooden sound. I better put this back to where it was, which was middle center. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add two blocks here. So I'm going to duplicate this guy. I'm going to call him object block wood, and duplicate him and call this one object block grass. Each of these need to inherit from object block. So the parent is going to be object block, the parent is going to be object block. Very good. Next let's go and add these to the room where we need to represent things as different collision objects. Okay, so there's our man up there. We've got our terrain unaltered. And first thing I'm going to go into tiles over here. And I'm going to remove some of these. Let's get rid of all three of those, maybe all four of these. And instead I'm going to select the wooden board tile. Okay, and that can stay grass on the left just like in the demo. Now, we can't just do that because we're not really interacting with these tiles, they're just visual representations of other things. Our player isn't going to collide with the tile and make a sound. So I need to actually go ahead to our instances layer and remove all of these on the wooden tiles over there. And instead, I'm going to go to resources, I'm going to drag in object block wood, just like that. Good. And then on all the places that are actually grass, I'm going to do a similar kind of thing and replace them with the grass block. That. Alright, so everything's in place. Now that we've placed these in the room, we just have to tell our player how he needs to react to touching them. So I'm going to head out into our scripts because this does all the collision checking. Here we've got a collision check, and here we've got a ground check. Now the collision check is for our everyday running around. That's when we're moving left and right and stuff like that. Our ground check is when we jump. So it needs to know how far we can go down before we need to stop the player from accelerating through the floor. So collision check it is. That's our first place of business. So we don't have to worry about horizontal collisions because they're not going to make a sound unless you want the player to make some sort of sound when he runs up against a wall, which I suppose you can do if you've got that sound resource. So the vertical collision is our meat and potatoes. This is where we want to do stuff. Firstly, I'm going to randomize because I've got several sounds. If we go into our sounds, you can see I've got grass and wood sounds. See, they sound like different kind of footsteps on these different materials. There we go. So obviously I don't want to play the same one every time. We want it to be more dynamic. We can pick one at random and play that when the user feels he needs to listen to a sound of the environment of his player. So randomize. Next, if place meeting x, y, y plus 1 I use obviously because it's 1 pixel below where the player is standing, and if that object is object grass, block grass, there we go. So the one reason why I made the grass block and the wood block inherit from object block is because I didn't want to change any of my existing code, and much of this existing code relies on one singular block object that handles everything on the physical world and whether we can or cannot pass through a wall or a block, for example. So in this case I can leave all those conditions there and not affect the way our player behaves, and I can add to it by being more specific on that. So if he's meeting a block, and also if that block happens to be of a certain type, do a certain thing. So that's what we're doing over here. So if it's a grass block, I'm going to say sound equals choose. I'm lazy, I'm using choose over here because it's a good kind of thing to go for. It's quick, it's easy. I don't have to come out with an integer and then use a switch. And our randomize should take care of the seed of this guy. And it's neat, it's quick and neat. Okay, so now we've got our sound, there we go. Fantastic. And here I can say else if, do the exact same code, but instead change it to object block wood. And in here, do the same sound choose, but instead change grass to wood. Wood 2, wood 3, wood 4, wood 5. That gives us a good spread. Awesome stuff. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And then, simple as that, I say audio play sound. Sound 100 false. Okay. Good. So that'll handle. Oh, this actually handles when we jumping up down. Sorry, it's the other way around. Collision check is the one that handles whether we need to fall through the ground or not when we jump. So this one is actually, sorry, just it knows where we land. That's what this guy's doing. Have we landed on a block? Yes. Was the block grass? Play a sound. Was the block wood? Play the sound. Well, set the sound, and then 36 we play it. So actually I need to grab this code. Now we're going to go into the ground check. This is the actual one. Here we're touching the ground. If we want to jump, we're in the air. So here we're going to put it between this guy. So paste, again randomize, determine what kind of sound we need to play, and then down here we need to do special magic. If sprite index is SPR man run, do stuff. Else if sprite index is SPR man walk. Now this depends on how many different kinds of animation sprites you've got. In my case I've got the run and walk. Now I need to be careful about these because the run animation is faster than the walk animation, and it's different, which means the foot image index, with the foot coming to the ground, is going to be at a different speed than the man walk over here. So the number of sprite indexes that I tell it to play a sound for man walk is going to be completely different to sprite man run. So this is where some magic comes in. You're going to have to fine tune it and play over and over and over again until you get it to look as realistic as possible. So if I go to my man walk over here, we look at what he's got here. Okay, so his foot's on the ground at 0. Alright, can we keep going? Let's see. What about here? No, he's already been played, so I'm going to say 0. Huh, that's when it comes down again over there. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0 and 4 is good, and then it'll do it on 0 again. Okay. Ground check. If image index equals 0 or image index imapke equals 4, okay, then we can do the audio play sound 100 false. Good. Now when it comes to the run animation, it gets a little bit more complicating, because if we look in here, when does he step on the ground? So there's 0, 1, 2, 3, so there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 and 7 I think is good. But the thing is, these are moving so fast that they actually increment greater than, 15 per step, or whatever this is. We can get decimals. So to fine tune this one, you can't just say, well, 4 and 7. You gotta say something along the lines of like 3.8 or 3.5 and 7.2, and you gotta use less thans and greater thans just to get it exact. Otherwise, if you use the whole numbers, it's not gonna look really cool. So ground check, I'm gonna go in here, we're gonna do some magic, which we can fine tune at a later stage. If image index is greater than equal to 3.8 and image index is less than equal to 4.2, or image index is greater than equal to 6.8 and image index is less than equal to 7.2, like that, and let's do that. What are we missing here? Nope, just missing these. Then we can do the same thing. Simple as that. So this guy is telling me that if the image index is anywhere between 3.8 and 4.2, play the sound, or if it's anywhere between 6.8 and 7.2, play the sound. So the gap in which you can play the sound for this guy and this guy is about the same, and whether you increase or decrease that gap is depending on how accurate you want to be. So when we play out, we will listen carefully for that, and if it's spot on, we leave it. If it's a bit delayed, we will decrease the size, and if it's too soon, we will increase that size. Or if it doesn't play at all, sometimes it's very hard. Now, obviously, the more sprites you have in your cycle, in your loop, the better, because you can make it smoother, you can predict when the foot will be on the ground and when you should play your sound, which is immensely helpful. So I do recommend high quality sprites, lots of images per animation. So that's actually about it. I mean, those are the only places where we look at whether we're touching the ground or not, and we've got our new tile set, we've got our new sounds, and we are telling the player when or when not he should play a sound. So now we've got that together, let's press the play button and see what happens. Alright, so here we are within what we've done. If I jump and I land here on the grass, it should make a grass sound. There we go, there's the grass sound. Let me increase my sound so you can hear that. Very good, and if I walk? Awesome, and I run? How cool is that? So let's jump, see if we can land on the wood. We did! And if I jump here on the wood, it should make a wood sound. It does! And if I jump from wood to grass, come on, make this. There we go. Still a bit of fine tuning to go, but that's sort of what we're getting at here. The player knows what cycle he is between his animation, and based on that, when we are colliding with a certain kind of block, we know what kind of sound to make. So I hope you found this tutorial educational and helpful. Please feel free to comment, rate and subscribe for more. If you like this video as well as what I do here on the channel, please check out my Patreon campaign. I do appreciate your support. You can find the project files straight in the description. Play around, expand on this, incorporate more terrain types with other sounds. If you have any suggestions to other outlandish videos, please let me know. I really enjoy making them happen. And until next time, happy coding, and I'll see you then.